We recently featured fermented garlic honey at the City Prepping website. It's touted as an immunity booster and a flu buster, but it also makes a great marinade with the addition of a little soy sauce or simply as is. Since I grow my own garlic and make my own fermented garlic honey, I'll show you the process. It's pretty simple, so long as you don't have an explosion. So let's jump in.
Please consider subscribing to our newsletter by clicking on the link in the description and comment section below. If you enjoy this video, please subscribe and click the like button to help the channel grow.
All you need for fermented garlic is a couple of bulbs of your favorite garlic, honey, preferably local honey, and a jar with a lid. I've made this recipe just like that, and I've made it with additional optional ingredients. In this batch, I will add ginger root as well. You could also add spicy peppers like bird peppers, as some say that it enhances the immunity building effect. You could add lemons cut into small pieces. You're creating a flavor-packed fermented honey concoction that is said to increase immunity and help stave off colds. I'll tell you about that while I start the longest step of this process, peeling the garlic. When you peel the garlic, you're going to get your hands sticky and smelling of garlic. I'll show you a trick for getting them clean and fresh smelling at the end. In this step, you want to peel the cloves. If they are cracked open in the process, that's ideal. They will ferment faster. Let me get a little technical while I peel these cloves. Honey is touted as being able to fight micro-infections and microbes, so you may be wondering how fermentation can happen when you are surrounding the cloves in honey. Honey gets its property from the lack of water in it. Microbes and yeast can't survive and make a home because they can't move around in it. If you were to put it into a wound, it helps to protect the wound. After a time though, its hygroscopic properties come out. If it's not in a sealed container, it will attract moisture from the air and become more liquid. It will also give way to the bacteria and yeast contained in the honey and found in the air and on many surfaces it contacts. This can cause spontaneous fermentation, which will be the subject of a future video on making mead. The garlic, like many vegetables, has lactobacillus in and around it. Similar to sauerkraut, this will cause the vegetable matter of the allium to ferment. Lactobacillus acidophilus and other similar bacteria are considered probiotic and already live in our guts. They process the foods we eat and make the nutrients accessible to our bodies. When garlic is chopped, chewed, or crushed, it produces allicin, an active compound with potent antifungal, antibacterial, anticarcinogenic, and antioxidant properties. Ginger root has been used since ancient times to enhance the effects of other medicines. Ginger has anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. There's lots of good research touting the health benefits of this root. Some people hate it though. They may even hate it at a genetic level like some do cilantro. If you don't like ginger, don't add it. Stick to the honey and garlic alone. If you do add the ginger, you can simply use a vegetable peeler, but I find this removes too much material. A trick to peeling it is to soak the root in water for 5 minutes, and then scrape the skin off with the side of a spoon. The skin is edible, so you don't have to do this. It just makes your presentation better. Process the skinned ginger by cutting it into 1/8 to 1/4 inch pieces. I use equal ratios of ginger to garlic for this recipe. Combine both the honey and the garlic, and you have the potent health benefits of the garlic with the natural health benefits of the honey. Fermenting them is said to increase the bioavailability of the ingredients' natural compounds. When picking honey, it is said that you are best served using honey that is locally produced and unfiltered. The reasoning here is that you are exposed to small amounts of pollens or honey made from the same flowers that are inflaming your sinuses. Lots of research has been done and this hasn't been proven, but it seems intuitive enough to me that I still lean towards using regional kinds of honeys. Every little bit helps, and if it's at all true, I'll buy a local. If you use non-raw filtered honey from wherever, it likely will have the same immunity protecting effect. Recent studies have also leaned towards the idea that much of our immunity begins with a healthy gut. The combination of honey, garlic, lemon, capsaicin from peppers, turmeric, cayenne, horseradish, and similar ingredients and concoctions, which you may have heard of as liquid forms referred to as the ginger bug or immunity juice, has been proven to open up your cells, deliver vital nutrients, and combat microbial, viral, and bacterial infections. If none of that at all is accurate, and some would say it's just hooey, it's worth finding a concoction of these ingredients that is right for you to give your body what it needs to stay healthy. Perhaps it's all a placebo effect, but then again, maybe mom's chicken soup and grandma's hot toddies are placebos as well. Still, they make us feel like we are in charge of our own health and might just give us a fighting chance and good nutrients. At the very least, this recipe will make a great marinade, which I'll share at the end of the video. Once your garlic is peeled, the cloves cracked, and at least half of your jar is filled, you will add the honey. To get the garlic scent off of your fingers, wash a stainless steel spoon with a bit of dish soap and water in your bare hands. The chemical reaction will neutralize the garlic smell. It's a tip my mother taught me years ago. I had some regional honey and some local honey, so I added them both. Leave a solid inch of headspace from the top of the jar because fermentation will add bubbles to your mix, and exposure to the air will add liquid. If you have fermented foods before, you may have a fermentation weight. The point of a fermentation weight is to weigh down your vegetables during fermentation, which means it actually needs to weigh enough to hold things down. If you have one, you can use it here. It's not really necessary though, since the honey will coat your food and keep it from being exposed to the air, and the honey, as I mentioned earlier, should prevent bacteria from getting a hold of your mix. Once you have added the honey and left about an inch of headspace, seal the jar and give it a really good shaking. Make sure the honey is all mixed up. With the jar sealed, you can set it on its top to isolate the air bubble at the bottom of the jar. Now, once or twice per day, you will want to burp your jar and give it a gentle shake to remix the substance. You will know when the fermentation is really kicking in by the small bubbles that will appear at the top. It will look kind of frothy. Keep burping it and give it a shake once per day. Fermentation releases CO2. If you were to simply leave it sealed, the jar may explode. You have to burp the jar at least once per day for the next week or two. Place the jar on a saucer in a shaded and cool part of your kitchen. Burp and shake once per day, sealing the lid tightly each time. Some have said that you can leave the lid loose, and you could if you plan on using it up within a few weeks. However, leaving the honey exposed to air will result in it pulling moisture from the air, lowering the viscosity to a runnier liquid, and welcoming in unwanted yeast and bacteria. In the short term, this is good. If you need a batch now and plan to use it up before harmful bacteria can take up in it. For a longer shelf life though, keep it sealed, burp, and gently shake 1 or 2 times a day, and refrigerate around the 3rd to 5th day. If your fermentation is happening, when you open it, you will see tiny bubbles around the edges. Even in the refrigerator, make sure to burp it once or twice per week. I have heard people just add honey to top up their fermented garlic honey as they use it, but do not do this. Don't think of it as a yeast or sourdough starter. Unrefrigerated garlic can foster the growth of Clostridium botulinum bacteria, which produces poisons that do not affect the taste or smell. Some say these will last for years in the refrigerator. I don't make batches that last that long. It may last longer than that, but I just try and use it up within a couple of months. If you want your garlic to last longer than that, brining and pickling it will be a better environment, as the salt water will have a greater preservative effect than the honey that becomes increasingly more diluted with time. Even refrigerated, there's a shelf life to your fermented honey garlic. Spores of this Clostridium botulinum bacteria are commonly found in the soil and can be on produce such as garlic, which is typically not washed. If you don't know what bacteria that is, it's the one that causes botulism. You can't cook botulism out of foods. The honey would make it harder for the bacteria, if any were in your mix, to establish itself. To be safe though, plan on using your mix within 3 months of creating it, and keep it refrigerated once the fermentation has run through your mix after about a week. How to use it. There are several methods for using this concoction. It tastes much better than you might think. Some put a teaspoon per day in hot water and drink it as a soothing tea. Some put it over chicken or wings along with other spices in the final minutes of cooking. Some just eat a spoonful per day as an immunity booster for a healthy dose of probiotics to aid digestion and nutrient absorption. Whatever you do, plan to use your batch within the month to be safe, and plan to make a fresh batch at the end of that month. Like I mentioned earlier, it makes an excellent marinade for chicken. I will soak the chicken in a few heaping tablespoons of the fermented garlic and ginger honey, a cup or 2 of soy sauce, toasted sesame oil, bird peppers or other hot peppers, and 1 cup of pineapple juice to make what is sometimes called huli huli chicken. After an hour or 2 of marinating, I will grill the chicken and hit it with a nice warmed up coating of the fermented garlic and ginger honey and a little soy sauce in the final minutes of cooking. It's guaranteed delicious. If it can keep you healthier and is an immunity booster, fermented garlic honey is an excellent first step into fermenting foods. It's an incredibly easy recipe and process to tuck away in your prepper kitchen. I would love to hear how your batch turned out, or if you have used this or similar recipes to keep you healthy. Let me know in the comments below, and please consider giving this video a thumbs up to help the ratings and get the word out. It's a little thing, but it's very helpful for us to spread the word about prepping. If you want to see a printed version of this video, along with the recipes discussed, visit cityprepping.com/garlic honey. If you have an idea you would like to see in a future video, please leave a comment there and let me know. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. keep your kitchen prepped.